Good afternoon, everyone. It's 6:42 or 3. City Council, Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, Successor Agency, Calexico Finance Authority, regular meeting, today, May 1st. We will now initiate the meeting. City Attorney, close agenda items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council met in closed session and discussed items B and C on the closed session agenda. Item A was removed. On items B and C, direction was given. No reportable action was taken. Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go with the approval of the agenda, on first, City Clerk, please note that all 5 council members are present. If we can go with the Pledge of Allegiance, District 1 Supervisor John Renison, please lead us.
Okay, join me now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we go for the approval of the agenda, former Mayor Luis Castro and myself had a meeting, and we're going to remove item A until further notice. Is there a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, what, item 8?
A, letter A, presentation A.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Councilman Hodge, second by Mr. Moreno. Please press the button to display your vote. Five zero. Thank you. Okay, presentations. We'll go to B, proclamation for National Police Week, May 13th through the 19th, 2012. It'll be read by Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado.
Thank you, Mayor Romero. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. And whereas the members of the Calexico Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of the city of Calexico. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the Calexico Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service. Now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Calexico call upon the citizens of Calexico and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 13th, through May 19th, 2012 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present, who, by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities, have rendered a dedicated service to their communities, and in doing so have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security for all citizens. City Council further calls upon all citizens of Calexico to observe May 15 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community, or have been disabled in the performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. In witness whereof, I hereunto affix my signature and official seal of the City of Calexico on this first day of May 2012.
Thank you. Presented to Chief Nugent.
If I may add a little bit to that, in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed Public Law 87-726, designating May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day. and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. The law was amended by the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994. Public Law 103-322 was signed by President Bill Clinton, directing the flag of the United States to be displayed at half-mast on all government buildings on May 15th each year. While the actual dates may change from year to year, National Police Week is always the calendar week beginning on Sunday, which includes May 15th. And the reason this is so significant and important to be brought up today, on May 4th, which is Friday, the Imperial Valley Law Enforcement Memorial will be having a service at the courthouse in El Centro. This year we'll be recognizing 38 Imperial County law enforcement officers who have died in the line of duty since 1920. And there will be ceremonies there in order to commemorate those officers and to obviously to show the families how much that really means to us as a community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. All right, announcements, public comments. Public comments are welcome. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes. Please complete a speaker form prior to the start of the meeting. If the item you wish to comment on is a closed session item, please comment now. If the item you wish to comment on is on the public portion of the agenda, we will take your comment when we get to the item in the agenda. Okay. So public comments, we'll start with District 1 Supervisor John Renison.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, City Council, good evening, and good evening, everybody here tonight. On occasion, at your request, what I'll do is come down and on your request, I don't think I need to be agendized every month because that'd probably be a little bit of overkill, but certainly I appreciate the opportunity because many times people don't know what's going on at the county level, and it's pretty obvious that sometimes things don't touch the lives of Calexico residents like they do city things. But let me kind of give you an overall update of things that are happening. A little background. First of all, there's two people in the audience I'd like to recognize because they happen to be two appointees of mine. Mr. Carlton Hargraves here, who's on the Planning Commission, and Eric Ortega, who's on the Employee Appeals Board. The Planning Commission meets a couple of times a month, very lengthy. They have yeoman duty like we do, and they also went through a very long public hearing a couple of weeks ago on this wind project at Ocotillo. We just finished a public hearing last week, as you know, the longest meeting, I think, in many years. It took 12 hours, but at the end of the day, it was approved 4-1. Basically, the impacts we felt were mitigated. The monitoring of the cultural sites, the Cachans and the Viejas, we're taking care of, things of that nature. Of course, there's always going to be pushback and lawsuits get filed, things of that nature. So we expect it to be challenged in court like everything else we do. And you're pretty used to that as well. Speaking of challenged in court, congratulations on Grand Plaza, finally. You know, I was on the council when that first came to us, and I'm glad that that's finally coming to fruition because it looks like there's no turning back now, because after you have a ribbon cutting and a groundbreaking, it's pretty hard to tell people it's not going to happen. So now it's going to happen, and that's good. I foresee Calexico in 3 to 4 years, mark my words, and I hope I'm around to see it, will be the boomtown of the valley it was back in the 70s and 80s, where we're rolling in sales tax possibly and property tax, things of that nature. And I want to be a part of that, and I'm sure you do too. Also, I want to thank the council and the city for working with us, with the county on the port of entry. Mayor Moreno and Ms. Hurtado, as you know, there was a meeting held a couple of weeks ago. The latest is Caltrans and GSA is working on another novel plan to possibly expand the east port of entry, which is a kind of a separate deal from our other little issue down at the downtown port. So that's good news. And as you know, that place has a lot of expansion room to go, and we're hopeful that that could be done. Mr. Romero, you might correct me, but I understand 4 lanes could be added to the tune of $6 million, so it's not as if it's $300 million. So that's good news, and we're gonna be pushing with that with the city very hard. I also want to update you. You probably have driven into Calexico the last several months at Cloak and Dogwood and Cole Road. You notice that intersection was expanded, and we paved the road from Cole Road all the way to Dogwood, and the next phase of that is going to be Willoughby Road, which goes from Cloak all the way around that curve over to Dogwood Road on the other side. So if you're making that curve around all those truck parking lots, that will be paved as well. Other paving that's going to be done, as you come from the Eastport and you hit Barberworth Road off of Carr and you come south, it looks like Iraq there, you know, the road's just terrible. That will be paved also within the next 6 months. Barberworth Road, all the way from Highway 98 all the way to the curb to where the bridge is. And speaking of the bridge, I found out today, and I didn't know this, that all bridges, although they're county-owned, Caltrans has to approve any kind of bridge reconstruction or rehabilitation. Did you know that, Oscar? I didn't. Anyway, we're working on a plan, a federal-funded deal, whereby Anza Road will be realigned, so you won't have that dogleg turn there, where it'll be more of a straight shot. And we're hoping that'll happen in the next 2 years. So we're going to work on that as well. Regarding the West Anza Road, I want to also commend the city for hiring Nick Servin, great guy, because he's a close collaborator of the counties. We've been out there a couple of times looking at things that we could collaborate on, and he's going to be working with us on the realignment of Anza Road on the west side as far as what the county can do to also complement that improvement project. So we're kind of all at the same, on the same page. I got appointed to the RDA Oversight Board, as you know, as one of the county members. The other county member is Roberto Moreno, and I believe we're going to be having a meeting here in another week or so, Oscar. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The council knows what that's all about. The only other thing, okay, and then this Thursday, this is kind of a new little deal. I was contacted by Luis Delgado from the Mexican Consulate, who would like to form a citizens kind of disaster response committee in the city of Calexico, where you segment Calexico into sectors, okay? And each sector would have a coordinator for emergency services, kind of a volunteer deal. Kind of a good idea. He's got a PowerPoint. We'll be meeting with Chief Mercado this Thursday at 9 o'clock, as well as the Chief of Disaster Relief at the county, who's Tony Raotis, and myself, and I believe Araceli Gaines from Campesinos Unidos, who used to be a Red Cross volunteer, who apparently knows how to get some grant monies to maybe pull this off. So as soon as we have more information on this, I will share it with the council. Lastly, I want to talk about a little bit about the casino. Everybody's dying for the casino, man. 6, 7 years ago it was like, oh, no, we don't want that. And now everybody says, oh, yeah, we want that. And we're going to get it. I really think so. The council and the county, and I just spoke to Jennifer for a few minutes ago, I don't want to violate anybody's trust, but there's some concerns, and those will be provided to Jennifer. I'm going to get a little bit more involved and on the elected side level to get a little bit more pressure put on that the county provide those fiscal impacts to the Jennifer as soon as possible, so that second side agreement can be elaborated and done so that we can move on with our lives. I'm getting a little antsy here. So I think we all want to see progress on this, and I certainly want to see it done in my lifetime as well as you. And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
John, I'd like to segue on the casino.
Sure.
Because if you'll permit me, we met today, City Attorney Lyon and City Manager Oscar Rodriguez, Councilman John Moreno, and myself. And the Manzanita tribe is very positive. We're moving forward. What we're going to work on at the city level in the works is getting those services agreements in place. But John, like you pointed out, what is pending at this time is the city receiving the list of impacts from the county. And we as a city definitely respect the legitimate concerns of the county, but the city has repeatedly requested this list, and yet at this time, John, as you know, we have not received that list, and we really need to move forward on that. So I know you can exercise your authority with the other supervisors and total respect their concerns, and just send us that list.
Correct.
And we'll work on it, and we'll get that MOU signed, and we're going to have a casino in here.
We are, and believe me,
it's going to be a win-win situation for everyone.
We are, and thank you for your comments, Mr. Hodge, because I know you and I are on the same page, and Jennifer and I are on the same page. I spoke to her briefly right before the meeting, and I told her that I would be working with her closely. You know, you hate to get involved with staff stuff, but doggone it, sometimes you have to. And when it's something this big and a big as impact on my district as it is, I have to take ownership of it and steward this process. I believe you have my commitment on that.
good to hear that,
Oh,
Jim.
yeah, absolutely.
Good to hear that.
Any other issues, you just let me know.
Okay.
You know, the telephone at the board is pretty public. By the way, I do write a column every 2 weeks for the Calexico Chronicle, and my phone number and email's in there. But if anybody has any other issues, they can contact me anytime by contacting the board office or the CEO's office, and I can be found very quickly.
Thank you.
And I have no office.
Thank you, Mr. Renz.
My office is wherever you say, I want to meet you. There you go. Any other questions for the council, Mr. Mayor?
No, thank you, Mr. Renison, for taking the time and giving us an update what's going on at the county level.
Like I say, I'll be continuing to work with city staff like Mr. Mercado and Mr. Chief of Police and also Servin. Those are kind of the areas where we dovetail and have issues like bridge cleanup, things of that nature, or wherever the county and the city can collaborate and make this place a better place to live.
Thank you. All right, Carmen Estrada.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Esta visita que estoy haciendo aquí con ustedes es para invitarlos el día jueves 3 de mayo, aquí Quinta y Andrade, vamos a hacer una presentación de equipos de niñas de 4 a 18 años. Están cordialmente invitados, va a ser a las 6 de la tarde y las luces nos las va a facilitar Border Patrol. Y también para el sábado vamos a tener un car wash mayo 5, eso es a beneficio de los equipos que se van al Nacional a San Diego. Igualmente para los niños, ponte de pie, mija. Marta Escobar y el niño Jesús Ramírez se va a las fuerzas básicas, el niño, para allá mi amor, a las fuerzas básicas, y Marta se va a las Olimpiadas Nacionales representando aquí Calexico. Y pues estamos orgullosas porque el trabajo de nosotros pues es trabajar para los talentos de aquí de Calexico. Y gracias a todos ustedes porque estuvieron con nosotros presente el sábado y es lo que queremos, la unión, porque la unión hace la fuerza a esta comunidad. Gracias a todos.
Gracias, Carmen, y felicidades.
Disculpe, el car wash va a ser por el señor Hermosillo, Willy Hermosillo.
Ándale, ok.
Porque se me había pasado.
Déjate en un parquito y todo, ¿no? Muy sabroso. All right. Gracias, Carmen. Okay, council member comments, Mr. Moreno. You identified 2 items on the agenda. Okay, then go ahead. 3 minutes.
Oscar Gonzalez, ladies and gentlemen, public. You know, Mr. Renison is right what he said, but he forgot to mention that I brought it to his attention. And also Luis Castro has been for a long time discussing that road. Being from Calexico, that used to go to our Lover's Lane, you know, Cart Road had a big old eucalyptus. And that was a favorite hangout of Oscar Gonzalez and others, my brothers. A lot of vatos from Calexico, and the road is still the same, decrepit. No supervisor, but John Renison took it upon himself, and I want to congratulate you, John, because including Luis Castro, even though Gopher Garcia said that was his lover lane when he was a teenager, still the same. The bridge is a safety hazard. I don't know if you guys have been out there. We used to swim. The Olagi boys used to take. The turn is very swift. Those guys used to go underwater and come back. That's why they were such great swimmers, and my brothers too. But I think that needs attention, and I hope the city also takes a strong position in order to do something about that road, because there's only 2 arteries to the new port of entry, Anza Road and 99. And oftentimes when I come at night and I come Car Road, I said, why the heck did I come there? You know, it's bumpy and everything. Like John said, I wrecked. The second thing I want to talk about is what John said. It wasn't as hunky-dory, the wind project. Tony Ramos and I spoke several times. I spoke for an hour. If you would believe that I can talk that much, John. But I did.
believe that.
And it wasn't that easy. Jack Terrazas made the most eloquent speech that I've ever heard. He voted against it, and he said essentially because at first they promised 200 jobs and it went down to 126, and he said if it goes underneath 126, that company's going to fall. They're having a lot of problems, ladies and gentlemen, with solar energy plants around the United States. They're going to put some in, ¿cómo se llaman? Aramurosa. But over there you don't have people like Oscar Gonzalez, Pony, Ramos, the Indians. There was a lot of issues the Indians raised, and you know that, John, cultural issues. One of the guys, Charlie Brown, said, the land is our heart, the mountains are feelings, etc., etc. Most beautiful speech. People spoke, they're going to sue you individually too, Mr. Renison. Not only the Board of Supervisors, they say they're going to sue you guys individually. And I think they have a claim because the money that's pouring into here, it goes out, it's big corporations. They're not going to leave anything, just like Walmart. It ruined downtown. But anyway, the last thing that I want to talk is a recall. I have nothing to do with a recall, but I'm in favor of it. I think the recall is essential, and I'm going to carry petitions because I believe that when Luis Castro was dismantled, he was removed as mayor, they fractured the unity of the community. They fractured the city council forever. But we're going to get resolution, ladies and gentlemen, in November. And I know Luis is going to get reelected. I don't know about John and Mr. Romero. And Ms. Maritza is in trouble right now, and I'm glad, because she was a swing vote. She also voted to terminate Victor Carrillo last year.
Okay, Mr. Gonzalez,
My 3 minutes?
I gave you your 3 minutes, yes.
Okay, let me just finish with
No,
one sentence.
the other
What's
30
it?
seconds was
Yeah.
already 3.5 minutes.
30 seconds.
I'll give you 15.
Yeah, and we're going to get that recall.
Okay.
2,500 votes or 15.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet you we're going to have a new council.
And good luck in your efforts. All right, council member comments. Mr. Moreno.
Thank you, Mayor Romero. I had the opportunity on Saturday to attend the Historical Museum celebration for Calexico. I was very impressed with the presentations. I understand you were there earlier, but families from throughout Calexico spend an afternoon sharing some of the trials and tribulations their ancestors completed as they came over from wherever country they were from. And I got the opportunity to see a lot of artifacts that have been collected throughout the ages. Kudos to Mr. Carlos Herrera for putting this together. It took a big effort on his part. And he's collecting more and more information about the families that make up the city of Calexico. I know Mr. Harvey was there, Mr. Venison also. I saw him there as well. The first family that spoke was the Medina Miranda family, with great accomplishments for the Medina boys. All 4 of them served in the United States Army, as well as their father was a World War II veteran. So I was very impressed with all the things that I learned at this presentation. And I noticed that the press had put a picture in the paper, which was good. Also, the Rice family, Dr. Eric Rice, went to school in Mexicali and gave a very entertaining story on his life growing up in Calexico. And of course, Chief Nujar, I want to thank Chief Nujar for giving us a history, not on himself, which I thought it was, but it was on the police department, and the history from the first chief of police in Calexico and some of his ancestors, and the pictures that were presented from way back when, the 50s and the 60s. And I challenge Mr. Mercado, who has a lot of history in the city of Calexico, maybe one on the fire department, which is an integral part, a critical part of the city's electoral organization. So I just want to thank him for putting on this great presentation. I also want to piggyback on what Mr. Hodge and Mr. Venison had mentioned earlier about the casino. We did have a meeting this afternoon. We felt it went well. We did try to establish a sense of urgency within ourselves to get this casino moving. We want to make sure that we work closely with the county. As you know, there are other two off-site reservation casinos in the state of California that are having trouble because a lot of community negative impacts that they're voicing, but with the city of Calexico and the county, we're looking more at a positive.
It's positive.
And so we're looking to meet with them to make sure that we come to an agreement as soon as possible so that economic development will flourish, will continue to flourish, and the city of Calexico people will go to work, and Calexico will become a boom town, as Mr. Renison said, a destination of people. So looking really seriously at making sure that this happens. Hopefully next week we can meet with the county and listen to their concerns so we can get this ball rolling, the dice rolling, I don't know, whatever metaphor you want to use. And also, I know that Mr. Hodge and myself have been meeting regularly with the Chamber of Commerce to look at its solvency. I'll let him elaborate more on that as we get to it. But yes, it's been a pretty productive week, and we look forward to working closely in our subcommittees with some of these big, high-stakes projects that we need to have in the city of Calexico. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Mr. Castro.
Yes, I would like to thank Supervisor Renison for all the information you give us to the City Council and to the audience. And also, today I passed through the bus stop on, I believe, 7 in Encinas, and I saw the 4 students at the transit bus stop, and I'm concerned about that because summer is here, and I didn't see no shade on that transit bus stop. Also, at the other one is on Grant and Cloak, and I spoke with Nick Servin, the engineering, and also to the city manager, I believe around 4 months ago, and I haven't seen any change on that. City manager, can you explain why we still have those transit bus stop without shade? I mean, that's something that is bad for the student. I mean, it's been 4 months that we the 3 passed through that transit bus stops.
If I may, for the city manager. Yes, you told me about 4 months ago, and we did travel the areas. We are aware, as you know, the one on Grant and Cloak does have an encroachment due to a fence out there. So it's not just a matter of putting the bench out there and with the shade structure. There's a little bit more involved dealing with them and the issues we're going to have with the owner moving his fence because he is encroaching onto us. The other point on Encinas, we can make that move, and I just hadn't gotten around to it, but I'll make sure that it's on top of my list.
Okay, my question is, when are you going to move that, or trying to work with that shade, with that bus stop on the 7 and Encinas?
Well, every time I tend to get busy on a little project, I have an injured employee. Right now, I believe I have about 15 injured employees out in the field. Needless to say, there's not too many people around that can do much of the work.
City manager, what do you have to say about this?
Well, I know the Public Works Director is doing what he can with the staff he has. What we'll have to do is, if he's got that many injuries out in the field, then we're going to have to probably talk about doing some contract employees and bringing them on for specific special projects like this one. So we'll talk about that and see if we can move that project along. Again, we may have to bring in some part-time employees on a contractual basis to address that.
Okay, But the thing is, there is a need. There is a need for the students, and you don't. I didn't see no. I haven't seen any action for you guys. That's I. You know. I'm not. I haven't seen any something positive. I hear nothing positive from you guys, from the city manager. I didn't see. I didn't hear nothing like you're gonna work on that. I mean, I noticed that those transit bus stops are like that for almost more than 5 years, and you know the problem is there. It's like downtown area. It's the same issue. I mean, we are continuously fail with this community. The way you answer, I don't see no positive movement on these issues, and that's make me upset. That's make me upset because this is not the only issue. There's so many issues, and you answer like that. We don't have enough workers. The employees are busy in another projects. I mean, that's not the answer. I wanna hear a clear answer. I wanna hear dates, and you don't give it. You don't give us a date. You don't give us the right answer. So, that's make me upset. I don't hear the right answer. That's all.
Is that all, Mr. President?
That's all.
Okay. Mr. Hodge?
Mr. Castro, I do support your concerns. It is frustrating at times, but at the same time, you know, I know we have our hands full and lack of employees, but again, I'll restate what I said last time. In these areas, first, I think we should prioritize. It really breaks my heart to see students out there and senior citizens. This should be a high priority. We should make it a high priority. That segues into just to mention, and we want to hear responses from the community. We're going to have the town hall meeting, the first one, May 8th, here in these chambers at 5:30 p.m. And please, I ask everyone that has these concerns and you feel that we're not being properly responsive to your needs, come and we will listen. But I believe we should make that a high priority. No senior citizen should be out in the heat there, suffering. And so I'm on board right now. I'm new on the ICTC. Can they step in and help on this matter, or is it in their jurisdiction also? No? Mr. City Manager?
We do have funding, as you are aware tonight, under your consent, you do have an item which identifies some funding for the actual infrastructure work on it. What obviously we need is the manpower. So we've heard you loud and clear. It is a priority. If it takes contracting employees to make it happen, we'll make it happen.
I think we need to understand that what is an instant priority is any time that there is any kind of level of human suffering among our citizens. Then everything else has to be put aside in a sense, and that has to be rectified as soon as possible. And I do understand we're trying our best, but I don't want to see people suffer. Not at all. On the Chamber Commerce Subcommittee meeting, they're doing a great job in raising their membership. We applaud the Chamber for that. They understand, we understand that in these hard economic times, they have to become more self-sustaining, and they are moving forward on that. The areas that they're very concerned and they want to enter into a contract with us, and we talked about the possibility, and that they want to really continue to work on is the Christmas parade. I think that's a wonderful idea that we continue with. And of course, our signature for Calexico, the Mariachi Festival. And then an area called what they termed deliverables, which broken down business promotion, which I highly support. Consumer affairs. The Chamber seems to have taken on the role of consumer affairs. That impressed upon me that there's a need there. There's a lot of people in the role of consumers that have a lot of complaints or concerns, and they keep directing it to the Chamber. You were there, right, John? What were some of them? Do you recall? Evictions? Yeah. Right, the tax services, that area. So we need to focus on that and help the Chamber in that area. So we respect what they had to say, and at this point in time, we ask the Chamber to itemize in more detail the cost and the resources needed for at least these three main areas. And so we're going to have a meeting. Did we set up a meeting? I can't recall.
Well, I think where we left it was that they were going to hopefully get that information to us within 2 weeks, and then we get a chance to review it and set up a meeting with them, see where we can go with it.
Okay. And so I've already talked about the casino, and you are absolutely right, Councilman Moreno. We need to have a sense of urgency here. We do not want to blow this, and it is a positive. There's a high percentage that it's going to be approved. It's not definite, and the reason being is overwhelmingly the community supports this. So we have to get beyond that point between the county of getting that MOU signed off, and I know Mr. Renison and others are going to work hard in getting that done. The other area, Nick, last time I wanted copies of our 5-year master plan. I kept mentioning we need to do more planning and executing, and I really want you to report to us so that, and to the community, about what are we doing for our roads and streets. And so again, I would like to have for myself and fellow city councilmen copies of the 5-year master plan. And would you be in a position today to give us an update report on are there any roads or streets being repaired or being improved upon at this point in time? Something positive?
None are being repaired right now, but I do have the 5-year plan already on the list, and we're adding to the bid list as we speak. I've already done a, let's see, 1.6 million estimate for the streets that we carried over from last year, and of course I'm adding to that, hopefully making it a $4 million project instead of 1.6 million, which was what we had budgeted. But since we have more funds available, I think waiting for the summer to be over, we'll be ready in September 1st.
So you're saying September 1st, there should be some kind of activity going on for roads and streets?
Yes. But the 5-year plan, I have it now.
A copy?
Yes.
Could you give me one?
Oh, sure. I'll give it to you right after the meeting.
Thank you, or all of us if you want, right? I always like. Would you mind quelling a rumor or a concern among some community members? And I like to act these things out. It goes like this. What are we doing? They have $7 million of Measure D, and hell, they aren't working on any roads or anything. Would you mind responding to that or breaking that down? Do we have $7 million, or how much we have, and why isn't the money being spent on roads and streets?
Out of those $7 million, 4 of the $7 million will be spent on roads. The others are going to be spent for other projects.
So you recognize that there is $7 million to be
Yes.
used?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, and so the soonest will be September?
Well, as soon as it gets cool, which is approximated about September.
Okay, let me ask this. Is all the bidding process going to be completed? So once the weather is acceptable to initiate the project, is everything going to be completed by then?
We're hoping to go out to bids next month so that we have
And
the
the
bids
bidding
on
is how
hand.
long?
Excuse me?
The bidding process is how long?
Yes.
No, how long is the bidding process for you to make?
It'll be 30 days.
Okay, so it should be ready by the
Yes.
time the weather is right.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Servin. Looking forward to the plan, and I'll keep asking you for updates, but thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, Mr. Hodge?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado.
Thank you. In listening closely to a lot of the concerns and sharing concerns with my fellow councilmen, one of the major concerns that's out there right now amongst us and in the community are downtown issues. And I've spoken to the mayor, not only the downtown issues, but some others, and I'll speak about them one at a time. But I am proposing to the council that we initiate, and I would like to participate in a subcommittee to look closely at downtown issues. And I would assume that Councilman Castro, being that he is in the downtown area as well as I am, that he would be a perfect fit for that subcommittee.
Excellent idea.
The other subcommittee that I would like to propose is a Parks Issues Subcommittee, which is near and dear to my heart. And now that I have plenty of time to be able to focus 100% on these issues that need quite a bit of attention, I also propose then a subcommittee dedicated to issues for parks. And again, I propose if, I know that Councilman Castro, you've been very dedicated to that issue, and I would be willing to work and focus on park issues. I would suggest a subcommittee on transportation issues, but I don't think that I can handle so many subcommittees. But for now, I believe that would probably be the best idea, to be able to provide quite a bit of attention and focus and thinking about what it is that's happening with our downtown issues and with our park issues, and have a lot more time and attention to looking for solutions, number one. I've always wanted to do that. I can see that it keeps coming up as a discussion and a concern and discomfort, I'll say, amongst us, and principally Mr. Castro. So I do suggest that if we could do that as soon as possible, I would wholeheartedly be involved in trying to find those solutions. That's all.
Well, that's it? Before I begin with my comments, using your request as subcommittee for those two items, and inviting Councilman Luis Castro to be part of it, obviously I already have your commitment, Mr. Castro.
I agree on that.
On
There's no
both?
problem.
On both?
Yes, I live downtown area, and what else?
The parks and parks?
Parks,
Yes.
yeah, sure.
All right, then try to meet as soon as possible, and that way you can bring a report to the council.
Do you need agreement by the rest of the council?
Of course, I agree, but I would like to see a list of these subcommittees. If possible, at the next week, just to take a look at the balance.
As informational.
And
item?
that's what I would recommend too, because it's not, if you have a list, then council can formally vote on it at the next meeting, as opposed to creating committees tonight.
Okay. That's it, Mayor Pro Tem?
Oh, and also tomorrow, the city manager, Mr. Servin, and I will be going to the Los Angeles area for a meeting with FAA with regard to the project out at the CLX-05 International Airport. Really looking forward to that trip and learning quite a bit and trying to find solutions to the different needs that we have out there. So I'll report when I get back.
Thank you. Okay, here goes. On Thursday, April 19th, Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado, City Manager Rodriguez, Public Works Director Nick Servin, and a staff member from engineering attended a meeting held in San Diego attended by various government agencies, including GSA, CBP, ICTC, to discuss available options for improving the infrastructure at both POEs in Calexico, East, Port of Entry, and downtowns, that was previously mentioned by Supervisor Renison. There was a previous meeting which included engineers from various agencies. Content of the discussion is not yet public. On Saturday, the 21st, I wish to congratulate Carmen Estrada and your president, Tony Garcia, for hosting a successful soccer tournament, bringing in teams from other communities. Former Mayor John Moreno was present, as well as Councilmember Bill Hodge, Mayor Pro Tem Maritza Hurtado was able to attend on the latter portion of the ceremony, as well as City Manager Oscar Rodriguez. Monday, April 23rd, this council was part of the groundbreaking ceremony for the Ground Plaza Shopping Center. All council members were present, and all are very supportive of the project. Obviously, we wish Grand Plaza Shopping Center success. Obviously, their success means success for the city of Calexico, the citizens, and the services that we can provide them. Wednesday, the 25th, the City of Calexico held its annual State of the City address with all council members present and seated in their respective seats during the council meeting, with the exception of yours truly, who addressed everyone in front of the dais. The State of the City was presented with a different twist, with all directors, including city manager, making their respective presentations on the most important issues from the past, current, and future. Thank you all for making your respective presentations. I believe it was appreciated by the public, and it was relatively well attended. Thank you. Thursday, on the 26th, attended the Chamber of Commerce Ad Hoc Committee on Border Issues chaired by Mr. Carlton Hargrave. Continuing and new concerns were addressed with Port Director Billy Whitford, and we're continuing to have those meetings so we can get them hopefully addressed as soon as possible. I also wish to congratulate the Chamber of Commerce. They held a ribbon-cutting ceremony for SAT Innovations at the Mini Mall at the intersection of Rockwood Avenue and Avenida Campillo. I was able to attend, and thank you to the business owners for investing in the City of Calexico and obviously employing persons from the City of Calexico. April the 27th, there was a SANDAG Subcommittee on Border Issues meeting held here in Imperial Valley. It was hosted. ICTC Director Mark Basa arranged a tour of the valley to see the different investments and improvements currently going on in the valley. A luncheon followed at the Family Style Buffet, which I was able to attend. Let it be known that Councilmember Bill Hodge serves as the appointee to SCAG, as Mayor Pro Tem Maritza Hurtado as the alternate, but yours truly serves as the alternate to this subcommittee, which to appointed District 1 Supervisor John Renison's support. I'd also like to congratulate the Calexico Education Foundation fundraiser, which unfortunately I was not able to attend. I had purchased 2 tickets. Marge and I attended an annual event in Mexicali, which I don't see Daniel Chaitis, where he could have elaborated on the event. It honored in the coronation Andrea Rodriguez, who they made a presentation at the previous council meeting. She's a resident of the City of Calexico and a junior at our high school. Daughter of Edgar and Yolanda Rodriguez. Congratulations to her. Saturday the 28th, Business Improvement District held a Mother's Day event downtown at Calexico at First and Rockwood. I was able to attend this function. I understand the event will continue for several more days. Thank you, BID, for being proactive in your marketing of downtown Calexico. And as mentioned by Mr. Moreno, I was also present at the early portion of at the Cultural Arts Center for the event hosted by historian Carlos Herrera. I was there for over an hour, and unfortunately I had to leave to some other pressing issues, but that I heard that you were present, and thank you for being there. Monday, April 30th, Community Services Director, Senator Toller, hosted at the Enrique Kiki Camarena Library, the Family Night Circus Style, celebrating the El Día del Niño. I was not able to attend, also due to a prior commitment. I don't see Sandra, but I heard it was a success. Today marked a very unfortunate day for the city of Calexico, and I'm going to say it's a sad day for the city of Calexico. We lost a very valuable employee, Judith Hashem. She has retired, and City Manager Oscar Rodriguez has met with the Finance Department, and they're trying to get things moving along so they can move forward in doing what needs to be done obviously for the benefit of the Finance Department, City Hall, and our citizens, obviously through this transition period. I do understand the concerns that Mr. Castro offered a little while ago regarding to the disappointment in not being able to address some of the issues, as well as the issue, and that is also of Councilman Hodge. When you have situations where staff are getting hurt and cannot continue with their line of responsibility, obviously it puts a huge hurdle on how to move forward to proceed with the commitments that the city has for its citizens. But I do wish that maybe at the administration level, something can be put into some kind of as a backup, immediate support, if you must consider hiring contracted personnel to, please do so. These issues have to be addressed sooner, not rather than later. I will address briefly the one item that brought before this council a few moments ago. I'll say that if you are in support of the recall of Mayor Pro Tem Marisa Hurtado, then you are behind it. We'll go forward. And I will say, for a matter of record, myself, I am not in support of this recall. I believe it's a disservice to the city of Calexico and its citizens, and we'll go from there. That is general comments by the council members. We will go to the consent calendar. Mr. Gonzalez, you have 3 minutes to discuss regarding items 2 and 9 at this time. Mr. Gonzalez, can you approach the podium, please?
My name's Oscar Gonzalez, 844 Encanto Terrace. I came at 3 o'clock and I wasn't able to see it. So I'm only defer comments unless you guys talk about it. But I'm glad you pulled it out.
I haven't pulled it yet, sir.
No?
We're asking you to discuss,
Okay, well,
to
let me
comment on
just
it
say
right now.
this. You know, I'm sad that Judy left, but she told me about a month ago she was forced to retire. And I want the record to reflect that. And she told me that in front of 3 people. So that puts a burden on the financial department, because I think that's the second account that we've lost within 6 months, or retired. I think we still have 2 excellent, but, you know, I didn't go to your presentation, Mr. Mayor, for a reason, because I didn't want to hear.
Mr. Gonzalez, can you?
Well, it deals with a financial report, because we don't have a balanced budget.
Okay, I need for you to stay focused on the 2 items, 2 and 9.
And in conclusion, on the first point that you said, it's a democratic thing about the recall. It's within our democratic process.
It's a democratic process. I hear you.
You might say it's that's your opinion.
That is correct, as
But
you
when the
gave your
people
opinion.
came here.
As you gave your
No,
opinion.
no, but when the people came here.
Mr. Gonzalez, will
3
you
people didn't even
please
listen
stay
to
on
them.
the issue? We're not talking about democratic
Okay.
process, we're dealing about
Thank
item
you.
number 2.
The second point, which is a dial-a-right, number 9.
That is correct.
I came here and I talked to Mark Vasquez, and maybe Mr. Servin can elucidate and articulate and reflect, but I saw the contract, and I've seen the contract many times. When I was an affirmative action officer, I was a senior analyst for 10 years, and I dealt with revenue sharing. That was over $40 million under my responsibility. At age 22, it seems to me the dial-a-ride has not complied. And the city, I'm not blaming the city, but I think the attorney needs to look at the contract, because more importantly, the fare box has not been complied with. And the fare box basically says that they're going to provide 10%. They haven't done it. Tonight we have Mr. Rodriguez and probably Mr. Servin supporting that, but I saw the material. Luis Castro showed it to me. No backup, no history, no background. It seems to me that bureaucrats, I don't blame Nick, because he's a new kid on the block. But Oscar, you've been here not only this past year, but you've been here a long time. And every time I see the recommendations that you submit to the council, it's very poor and inferior. No backup information, no history, and you guys are voting. Let me give you a classic example. When you have a budget, you have about 10 pages of facts and figures. I couldn't even do it in 3 days. I don't see how you guys vote on information that deals with a financial budget. Mr. Romero, I think you know something about business. If you know anything, it's about import-exports. You may not know anything about government, but I think you know about facts. You know about facts and figures. Yet time and time again, all of you, and I'm including Mr. Castro too, all of you keep voting and voting and voting. I don't think you guys understand what you're voting. Look at the reams and reams that Judy would put out to defend herself. You know, when you guys talked about $800,000 that we had and that Oscar had, Rodriguez had, hey, that money was already spent. Not one time did I hear, Mr. Romero, in your speech the other day of what we've done for the city, that we're still $15 million in debt for workman's comp, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, when I see you policy, I'm including all of you up there, including the attorney. ¿Cómo es posible que voten sin saber lo que están votando? How can you do it? I don't see how you get the agenda on Saturday and Monday or Sunday. How can you possibly analyze? I was a senior analyst for 10 years. I have a master's degree. I couldn't digest that stuff in 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Okay, we'll go to the consent calendar. What's the consensus of the council? Okay. Any other items?
Yes, I would like to pull item number 9.
Okay. Any other items? Hold on a second, I have... Oh, I know what it is. 2 and 3. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve item number 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, A, B, C, and D, 13, 14, 15, and 16?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Moreno, second by Mr. Hodge. Please press the button to display your vote. Okay. It's more of fortunately, unfortunately, for the length of this meeting, I was not able to print all my comments, it erased, so I'll go by memory. I did note that the reports for the general fund and enterprise, the successor agency, were separated. Thank you very much. I also will ask that in the future, if these other two reports could have a revenue expenditure comparison as you did for the general fund. It gives a clearer picture of where everything is at. Yes, if you look at the general fund, it talks about this one. Right, before the detail reports. I did note that the city of Calexico is at, if I read this correctly, at 55%. In fact, both revenues and expenses are at 55%, where through January, where it should be at around 58%. So I commend the city manager and staff for keeping the expenses not only parallel with the revenues, but also that since it is a decrease in the revenues, that the expenditures were also monitored in a similar manner. Anyway, that was just a comment for that. It's not anything lengthy. If there's no other discussion on this item, I'll motion for its approval. Is there a second? Okay, since I pulled the item, I motion for its approval, second by Mr. Moreno. Please press the button to display your vote. Passes 5-0. Item number 3, the warrant register for claims paid for the month of 2012. Something similar. You have a detailed report where you're having, you reflect all the expenses. I would like to see some kind of a summary of all the persons or entities receiving the total amounts being paid, and maybe even consider separating them if there's business licenses that should be for businesses that business licenses are supposed to be in effect, where each can be separated for those that have a current business license and those that do not. It's a pretty extensive report, and a summary like that would really help understand of what this warrant register is presenting. Since that was only that for my comment, I'll motion for its approval. Okay, motion by yours truly, second by Mr. Moreno. Please press the button to the, yes, sir.
I'm looking a little dazed because I just want to make sure we understand. Your separation is, what did you want as far as the separation?
Summary. Who are the payees and what they were paid, and if on the separation, if a business license is involved, if it's under somebody that has a current business license, and another maybe column where there is no, the current business license is not current, and even if it would be a situation that there is no business license involved in that situation.
Okay. Report of cash disbursements?
Yes, a summary of those three. Okay. Okay, all right, there's my vote. Okay, passes 5-0. We'll jump to number 9, pulled by Mr. Castro.
Yes. Yes, I would like to hear from city manager that is this, we approved this, I believe, was in October. I agreed to support this issue because there is some, it's related to senior citizens. And but my question is, are this company, I believe it's First Transit that is working right now for the seniors. Is this company are compliance with the 10% Fairfax ratio? That's my question.
As far as I know, they are. Is that correct, Ms. Nick?
I'm sorry, I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
I said, as far as I know, the answer is yes, and the Public Works Director is
The answer
nodding
is
that yes.
Okay. Well, you say yes. I believe that. Thank you. That's it. Mayor.
Since you pulled the item, would you like to motion for its approval?
Motion to approve. I approve that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Castro and second by Mr. Hodge. Please press the button to display your vote. Approved, 5-0. Item number 11, pulled by Mr. Moreno.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand that this is just basically a name change from the hospital district to the healthcare district. And I just want to find out if there are any impacts on the taxpayers regarding this name change. Will that play a part in future developments, or I just want to make sure that we're just moving the same thing but just changing the name?
As I'm aware, and maybe the mayor can elaborate on this, all they're doing is changing the name, so they're inserting that into the agreement, the new name change.
If I may, Chair of the JPA, Silvia Bernal is present. She'll just make a brief statement in regarding to this item.
We changed from hospital district because we no longer have a hospital, so we changed to healthcare district, and this way we can provide different health services. But your question that you asked, I don't know. I don't know if it will create an impact or not, but we can find out through the...
Actually, we have one other one. That's the Pioneer. No, I believe theirs is the Pioneer Hospital. Yes.
Pioneer is the urgent...
They don't have a help. They don't have
a... Yeah. It's a clinic where, that's where Rosie works at the El Centro. And the Pioneer is an urgent care center where we collaborate with Pioneer because we pay for the full service of 24 hours. We pay from 12 to 8 to have, that's being paid by the Heffernan Board. As far as I know, I don't think it does because...
Right. There's a belief that there will not be any kind of impact because this is something that has been dealt with by the Heffernan Memorial attorney who worked jointly with the JPA attorney and who has also been in contact with our own city attorney. So we were making sure that all was accounted for. It's just a name change. Yes, and which is part of the notes that I had that I lost when I was preparing for this item in case it was pulled, is that Heffernan Memorial some years ago understood that that there was no way to. It was very highly improbable that a hospital could be established in the city of Calexico and be able to survive the financial obligations. And one of the things that has happened since myself and Luis Castro have been on the JPA with Rosie Fernandez and Silvia Bernal, is that they have, the group has, in essence, transferred its message from trying to put a hospital here to providing health care. Like, for example, the ambulances that the city of Calexico, the fire department has under Chief Mercado's command, the defibrillators that are now assigned to Chief Newjar as well as Chief Mercado. Chief Mercado also has an oxygen O2 medical type of manufacturing apparatus. That way, it saves them the general fund issue of expensing for those kind of items. The clinic that they're referring to with the El Centro Regional and also Pioneers, they're helping putting those programs together. They're also promoting now what's that program called regarding telemedicine, where the citizens of Calexico don't have to go not only out of the county, they don't even have to go out of the city. They can go to a site in the city of Calexico where a specialist out of the San Diego, LA area can look at them, and they can connect that patient, and they can make the readings, and the doctor or the surgeon or whoever can make those determinations on what they need. So that's why the emphasis or the philosophy has changed from financing a hospital to putting together healthcare for citizens.
So suffice to say that the services are currently available will either improve or expand?
Yes, that's correct.
Mr. Mayor, may I clarify, just so the council's aware what it's deciding on tonight, is that Heffernan, they have changed their name. So the council doesn't have any authority or purview over the fact that Heffernan has changed their name. I'm assuming they still collect the same amount out of property taxes that they did with Hospital District as they do now with Healthcare District. But that decision was made by Heffernan. It's not under the purview of the board. The only thing that council is deciding on tonight is that the city and Heffernan are in this joint powers agreement, and the only thing that joint powers agreement governs is the remains of a half-cent sales tax that has since expired, that was collected to pay off certain debt of the hospital. So this joint powers authority just needs to change the name, because Heffernan's already changed their name. They now just need to change the name to reflect the current name of Heffernan in their joint powers agreement. So simply what council's doing tonight is really ministerial. There's no effects that will be taken by your action tonight. It's just cleanup in the joint powers agreement.
From my perception, it's almost similar to item number 9, where something was approved some time ago, but yet the bar was barely presented today. In this case, the Heffernan changed his name some time ago, and until now, we're addressing the issue of the change of the name for the records of the city of Calexico.
Well, thank you very much for the information.
A formality, correct.
If there's no other questions, I will vote to approve this item on the consent calendar.
Okay, motion by Mr. Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado. Please press the button to display your vote. Passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia Bernal and Rosie Fernandez, for your input. City Attorney, since we approved 12A, B, C, and D, anything needs to be read, or do we can go straight to new business?
Straight to new business.
Thank you. Under new business, we go to item number 17, discussion and/or action on recommendations of the Financial Advisory Board per the attached memorandum regarding business licenses presented by Financial Advisory Board representative. If I may defer this to Financial Advisory Board Chair Carlton Hargrave.
Good afternoon, members of the mayor and members of the council and the public. My name is Carlton Hargrave, and I'm the chairman of the Financial Advisory Board. The Financial Advisory Board was tasked by the city council over a year ago to review the business license fee structure and come back with recommendations as to how that can be improved. And tonight, we're here to present some of these recommendations. The Financial Advisory Board spent a considerable amount of time on the business license ordinance and fee structure during the last year. The board drafted and is presenting this document with city recommendations tonight. We believe the business license ordinance is voluminous, and the task will be very difficult and financially not feasible at this time to have the city attorney completely redraft the ordinance, including regulations, administration and compliance and fees. We would like to provide some immediate solution to certain critical issues that we believe provide a step forward toward the business license function. After reviewing each chapter of Title V, 501, 08, 12, 16, 20, 24, and 26, and making a cursory review of all the other sections pertaining to specific businesses such as auctions, bingo, swap meets. We're prepared to make recommendations on a general scale for improving when and if the city allocates resources to writing the legalese required to amend this ordinance. I will state, going off script a little bit, that business license ordinance was first adopted in 1957. And this is the ordinance that we are operating under. It was amended in 1975. And as you can tell, that the ordinance is quite obsolete and probably, and does need updating in the worst way. References to the business license duties. What we would like to recommend is, number one, references to the duties of the city clerk and city treasurer as pertains to business license issuing and collections should be updated to reflect the current staffing responsibilities. More specifically, this function should be moved to, in our opinion, to the finance department, including the business license code enforcement officer. Separate the billing of and collection of the business license fee and the fire inspection fee and their associated penalties. There has been quite a bit of controversy over the last year, the citizens and the business community, about the difference between the business license fee and the fire inspection fee. And for clarification and clear understanding, we believe that these two fees should be separated, clearly separated, and billed separately. Procure a new business license software that permits a more complete data storage, tracking, and retrieval of information. The business license software that we have currently is very dated and obsolete, and it does not afford the finance department to have a accurate and up-to-date tracking of the business licenses. Institute a review of swap meet licensing procedures and enforcement on an ongoing basis. What we found as a committee is that we do have quite complete procedures for collecting and monitoring swap meet business licenses. However, there has been, the failure and the downfall has been in the enforcement of it. The city is not reviewing and is not on an enforcement basis, on a regular basis, following our own procedures that we already have in place. With few exceptions, daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly license designations should be eliminated and reclassified and billed on an annual fee basis. Right now, our ordinance tells us that the business license is a quarterly license and should be paid quarterly, and through the ordinance, all of the fee structures are based on a quarterly basis. We feel that this method of billing is obsolete and cumbersome, and it should be amended to be billed on an annual basis rather than quarterly basis. Change all annual licenses to renew January 1st and expire December 31st of each year. Right now, with our ordinances, we have businesses license expiring during various periods of time during the year, and that's very difficult to track and very challenging. Base contractors' license fees, both general and subs, on gross receipts rather than on a scale. We find that currently these fees should be looked at and brought up to current standards. Eliminate all outdated business types in the business license code, that is coal dealers, horse and mules for hire, Turkish baths, etc.
Not the Turkish baths.
Don't do the Turkish baths.
We want to get rid of the Turkish baths?
Reclassify certain business types from to retail from the flat rates. The retail type businesses we're talking about, such as flower shops and other businesses who generate income through retail sales. Add professional services class due to high-income producing businesses and base fee on number of units or persons, et cetera, and add certain business types to this category. Right now, we have the ordinance is obsolete or outdated, I should say, with back when it was written, we did not have multiple offices with multiple attorneys in the office, and so a attorney would just pay one nominal fee, whether it be one attorney in that office or 200 attorneys in that office, it would be just one fee. And what the committee feels is that there should be some type of structure that would reflect the size and the income of the particular entity and professional organization. Add out-of-town section specifically to address vehicles from without city limits that transfer goods, wares, merchandise, and include requirements for doing business in the city. We've got a number of vendors who come within our city who are supposed to be paying business licenses who are not, and we need to specifically address this issue. Clarify ambiguous categories such as nurseries should be made into a plant nursery so that we can eliminate the ambiguities. Combine similar categories, that is, auto shops, to replace the long laundry list of different types of auto shops, for instance, auto paint shop, auto repair shop, auto wrecking shop. And same thing with schools. My glasses got fogged. Excuse me for a minute. Combine similar, we were there. Increase fees for certain types of business, that is billboards. The current license has a one fee for a billboard when a company might have numerous billboards in the city, and we need to make arrangements that a company can pay business license based upon the number of boards that they would have in the city rather than one business license for the company. Retain weekly rates for food vehicles from without the city and peddlers and hawkers. That is what we're talking about, is having a rate for people who are coming in, for instance, at the Christmas parade or coming in for holiday events and are going to be here for one day. We need to have a weekly rate or some type of rate specifically for those people who are just coming in on a limited basis.
I believe we had a situation with florists who on Mother's Day or Valentine's Day would line the street.
Correct.
And we did discuss that to do away with it, to protect our established businesses.
Correct.
Was it addressed for these particular types of sales to be sales that are seasonal or like Christmas trees or something to that effect, or what was the specifics on that, Mr. Andre?
Specifics was when they come in for, what we were recommending is that they would buy a business license for a specific period of time. The bottom line, what we're recommending is business license minimum fee would be $100 for a year, so that we would not have all this, you're coming in for one day and you're going to pay $40 for the one day, or you're going to come in one day in January and one day in May, or specific holidays. So what we are recommending is that it be a minimum of $100 business license if you're going to come into the city and do different events during the year.
Would that align itself with the current ordinance that we have?
The change in the ordinance that you did, yes.
So we're allowing the flower vendors now?
No, I thought we did away with it.
Yeah, I'd have to review the specific ordinance, but those flower vendors that don't have permanent businesses are not allowed anymore. I don't know how broad that section of your municipal code is and the change you did, but we can review that if the council provides direction on this.
Okay. Clarify unclear statements under the code. That is, some statements like a business license should be charged at a maximum rate. Well, whatever that maximum rate is, we need to clarify those types of ambiguous statements in the code. The city building department shall verify the holdings of a business license for any business engaged in the construction, reconstruction, or renovation project where the permit is required to commence work. In other words, if a contractor is going to come into the city, or if we're going to do any kind of construction, there should be a business license involved, along with the other permitting requirements that would go along with that particular project. And establish a minimum business license fee of $100 a year, rather than, as we said, the current ordinance has $20 a quarter or $5 a quarter or various things like that in the license, current ordinance. And again, this ordinance was 57, and again, it was not revised since 1975. In summary, the board would like to make certain recommendations based on our analysis and review of the business license code. Although we are recommending action to be taken right now, we understand that the city financial constraints and redrafting the entire business license code may not be feasible in the immediate future. One area we'd like to recommend remain intact is that there be no change in the penalties for delinquent licenses. After much discussion and review, we believe that the penalty of 10% per month up to 50% of the annual payment is justified, and no adjustment should be made at this time. At this time, the board believes the city council should move forward immediately on the recommendations below so that the city can increase enforcement and generate lost revenues as a result of failed current enforcement and collection procedures. One, we recommend the city council take immediate action to contract a private non-city employee, duly certified code enforcement officer because the city is not able to collect the fees under the current circumstances. We recommend the city council authorize the city attorney or legal aid to research any legal or Prop 218 issues with amending increasing business license fees and the appropriate procedure to do so, because certain fee structures within the ordinance are based on the 1957 standards and by today's market are unrealistic. And what that is that there was an issue that there could be a Prop 218 issue about raising taxes, and what we're recommending is that the city attorney research it so before any council action would be taken, so that we would not be in violation of that. We recommend the city council authorize the finance director to research and lease or purchase new business license software that provides a better record keeping, tracking, and billing and continuities from year to year. We recommend fire fees and business license fees be billed separately and distinct from each other to avoid confusion and clearly identify each assessed fee. We recommend the enforcement procedures be implemented to review swap meet business licenses and to ensure compliance with business license code. And it's not on your printed material, but the commission also recommended that we authorize the current code authorizes that the business license enforcement be under the police department, and that the police department has the responsibility to enforce business license compliance. And we recommend that we keep that part of the code in it, whereas the police department can issue citations for a misdemeanor for a business license not being paid. And this would put some teeth in our business license ordinance, because what would happen is that the citation would be issued, and that is a legal document that would require that business license to be paid. And there is an enforcement behind being able to do that. So we are recommending that that portion of the business license code remain into effect and be implemented, that the police department be given, once the code enforcement goes out there and ascertains that there is no business license, that the police department would have the authority, after a certain procedure, whatever the council would like to put into place, for instance, a 30, 60-day warning or a letter notice, however they would like to notice that individual. But at some point, at a determinate point, it be turned over to the enforcement, and that enforcement be by the police department to issue that citation that that business is operating illegally. One more thing. Currently, there, in our business license, we have the most current report we've got that our business licenses are approximately $626,600 delinquent. Part of the problem with that is that there are many businesses on that list that are no longer operating. And because we do not have a systematic code enforcement, we don't know which of those businesses out there are no longer operating. So we're not sure how much of that $600,000 is actually out there. So one of the things, and that was one of the reasons that we need to get the people out in the field, the code enforcement, as well as the software updated so that we can have a more accurate count of really what businesses are out there, which ones are no longer out there, and the numbers that we have are more accurate. And with that, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Hargrave. In your discussions within your committee, understood that there is language right now that would be able to give the city of Calexico some teeth in recovering the business license fees. Was there a form of a recommendation in what the sequence and how to follow up with it? For example, in fact, I'll even ask the question right now. We have, I don't know how many, over 100 businesses that are not current with their business license fees, and I'll ask the city manager or the interim finance director if any letters have been issued to them, and have there been any responses. If now, one can say that there's too many businesses out there that are listed here to take the time to do something like this. Well, this concern has been going on, well, forever, and 10 letters a day in 10 months would be, you know, it'll sum up to quite a bit, really quick. So the issue with the misdemeanor, the citation, et cetera, was there some kind of a recommendation from your committee in how to best go forward, being that you as members of the commission are in business, and you would expect some kind of what you would consider a thorough follow-up and something that would be within reason?
Yes, that was discussed. It was not put here, but it was discussed quite a bit in the committee. And one of the things that we discussed is, number one, the city only recently started sending out notices of business license renewal. In years past, it was up to the business owner to remember that the business license was due on December 31st or January 1st. But in recent years, the city has taken to sending out those notices that the business license has expired and needs to be renewed. One of the things that we talked about is possibly a 30-day notice, a 90-day notice, and after the 180 days, because what's happening here is that each month that they are delinquent, they are their penalty is being increased by 10%, up to that 50%. And after the 180 days or 6 months, it's a 50%, but at that time, it was recommended that at that time they would be issued a citation, a misdemeanor citation, and then it'd be taken from there to the enforcement stage.
With the program that you brought up as a recommendation, do you know if such a program would be available, you might say, through the website where somebody can submit their payment? A lot of times, as you know, in business, especially with the business licenses, the way it's conducted today, they have 31 days in January to, actually less than 31 days, but there's 31 days in the month. But there's about 20 days of business days where they can go in and try to pay their business license. So obviously we have a a long line of business people trying to pay their business license. Is there anything in the program where somehow maybe it can get linked into the city website so businesses can maybe go in through the website, make their payment, and maybe receive the business license in the mail, but at least it can have a record. That way, if code enforcement shows up, they can say, look, I paid it, I printed the record, I have a formal receipt, I'm just waiting for the formal business license to show up. Was there any discussion to that?
No, there was not, Mr. Mayor, but I will say that it just in general, having done business and dealt with this, I do believe that the city could set up a PayPal account or a PayPal type account where this could be accomplished.
Okay, well, City Manager, maybe that's something like that can be looked into. And as far as your recommendations and procedures, is it something maybe the council would like for, it's difficult to receive this report today and make some kind of a decision, you know, which way to go forward. Maybe we can bring it back at the next council meeting so we can address it further. What is the consensus of this council?
I have a couple of thoughts, but go ahead.
If you will, Mr. Mayor, this is an overview of what we have gone through. But there's a lot of detail that we have not gone through, that we have been going through. What I might suggest, if I would, is that maybe we do table this to come back, but in the meantime, maybe a subcommittee of the council could meet with the financial advisory committee so that we could talk about some of these details there, where you would have a clearer picture of what we're really talking about.
Okay. I guess let us know when your next financial advisory committee is, and then we can address it then, as mentioned, at the next council meeting. Come in with a list of the subcommittees and appoint the council members accordingly at that time.
And you should also appoint a subcommittee of the Financial Advisory Board. You shouldn't be having all 5 of them meeting with 2 council members, so.
Very good, we can do that.
Also, a suggestion, when we do have those meetings, we should have a rep from the finance department, a rep from the building department, a rep from the planning department, and a rep from legal, because a lot of these issues encompass a lot of this. You know, can we do it? Can we not do it? Is it legal? What is it? What are the processes? Building, can we, what is the ramifications of moving the duties from one department to the other, from building to planning? What are the ramifications of hiring another individual? Can we do it? You know, where's the money going to come from? There's a lot of ramifications on these recommendations, so I think it would be appropriate to have the people there so that we can answer these questions.
I understand these committee meetings are had at a reasonable hour, around 6 o'clock or 6:30? Is that correct?
They have been at 6:30, third Thursday of the month.
Okay, and that way it'll be much more flexible for the council members who wish to be part of that subcommittee.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess
I had a thought.
bring it forward to the next council meeting?
Yeah.
Or maybe just table it to another?
Well, I think we should probably set up the meeting
Okay,
with the
with them,
finance
and then
committee.
make the recommendation
And then
after
whoever the 2 council people are going to be that are going to attend that meeting, so that we can set up staff also to be appropriately at that meeting. So I don't know who the council members are going to be that are going to be on that subcommittee, but you might want to address that.
I'm interested.
Okay. In your report, in reviewing your report, it also mentions that there's a recommendation by your commission to have this in effect for next calendar year, January 2013, is that correct?
Correct.
City manager, city attorney, in order to go forward with their suggestions, recommendations, is there a time factor that this council needs to address by a certain day so we can, everybody can be sensitive to that date?
Well, to do an ordinance change, you need about 45 days, because you have a first reading, second reading, 30 days to go into effect. And then it depends on when Finance Department sends out notices related to the business license. Does that go out in early December? So you probably want to be approving some ordinance changes by September, I think, to be safe in there.
Okay, so this way we can remind the council members and also as well as the members of the commission that there is a date that we need to, that the language needs to be put together.
the mayor. That's going to take effect. One of the issues that we were just discussing is, that's why we have to look at all these issues in reference to legal. If there is, I believe, any increases in rates or whatever, that may require some other legal issues or some other processes that we have to go through, which would add time to it.
Well, I guess it'll just emphasize that the sooner they get together, the sooner they can, resolve these things.
I might, if I might be so bold, though, to say that there are teeth in the ordinance right now
Yes.
for us to start doing some of the collection activities that we have been talking about, as well as some of the visiting of the businesses and finding out whether or not they are still in existence and if they are in compliance. So although we are talking about, I think we're talking about two things here. We're talking about, one, amending the ordinance and bringing the ordinance up to current status, but the other thing we're talking about is immediate actions to start collecting some of the outstanding fees that are out there now.
Right, and both situations can run parallel. One of them, obviously, it'll be up to the city manager to give direction to enforce what is available to the city right now, and the other one to get this thing going, so something can be approved in a timely manner.
Yeah, and one of the things that, as we look at the whole organization, as we're going through these new times, one of the things we're looking at is our staffing, and which I relate to as our assets. And one of the things we're looking at is, can there be staff that can do other jobs that are within their realm? And so one of the issues that we're looking at is some staff right now that could add to the possibility of adding more time to actually code enforcement. And so we've been discussing that with the Public Works Director to see if we can get more people out there.
Mayor Pren Hurtado, you had some comments?
Yes, thank you. Meanwhile, one comment I wanted to make is that I'm not sure if all will know that's out there. We do have a revenue officer here in the city of Calexico who has access to quite a bit of information, the newest information about revenue collection, and we definitely have to take full advantage of that position and that officer's ability to access up-to-date knowledge. The other comment was that possibly during the meantime that we use our teeth, that we make changes to what's in our books. Also, I think I would probably want to look at maybe some demos of what a management program can provide, because so many different management programs might be slightly different and manage that information differently. And looking at a demo program maybe might help us also to all of us understand how we're going to move forward by adapting what we have here in this city to a brand-new program. Because maybe the plans that we make and the decisions that we feel are appropriate for us may not adapt to a management program. So if there's a possibility of maybe asking for demo programs, taking a look at them, seeing what's out there and seeing how different and what could actually fit for us, I think that'd be a good idea to look at that too.
Okay. I think that that's possible, and I think the other way around, I think that you're right, and looking at a demo program might also help us in formulating what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Simultaneously, exactly.
Right.
Any other comments?
Yeah.
Mr. Hunch?
Thank you so much for this very thorough, or the recommendations and your hard work. And I think all of us have always, well, these are very good recommendations and we will look at them. But one of the areas I think is a very priority is code enforcement. I know that city management has elaborated on it in specific departments, but in your inquiries and examination and discussions, what did you find out about the status of our code enforcement here in the city?
To be honest with you, I found that we could be more aggressive and more attentive to our code enforcement.
Okay. I really believe that's a priority, the code enforcement. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I always was explained and taught that it's an area that generates revenue.
That's correct.
So we're shooting ourselves in the
I
foot
think
if we don't
I think we all
go
agree on
forward on
that.
that. Okay, but we haven't acted on it. It's been so long.
Let's
right?
act.
Yes. Forever. Okay, thank you.
Any comments from other council members?
I too would like to congratulate
Excellent.
all the efforts that this financial advisory committee has come up with, the recommendations. However, would it be out of line that perhaps maybe include chamber, I know you remember the chamber, but maybe the executive director of Chamber of Commerce to look at this with a set of eyes,
to participate.
idea.
Maybe some, I don't want to get too many, but just to get, I guess, more input from that perspective.
Well, I am the first vice president of the chamber, but I cannot speak for the chamber, but I certainly will take it back, and I would assume that that's something that they would welcome.
Maybe present to the Chamber of Commerce as one of their meetings, they could look at, they have some input.
We have a directors meeting tomorrow, and I will do that.
Anything else? Nope. Thank you very much, Mr. Hodge, or Mr. Hodge. Thank you, Mr. Hodge, for making your comments, and Mr. Hargrave for your presentation.
You're quite welcome, Mr. Mayor.
There's a little difference in size and, yeah. Okay. Number 18, discussion and interaction on approval of the Statute Awards Recognition Program presented by the Economic Development Commission representative. I'll defer to Chairman of this commission, Ben Horton. I had to look at him so I wouldn't say Bill Hodge again, so.
Good evening, Mayor and City
Mr.
Council
Ortega.
and members of the audience. My name is Eric Ortega, and I'm Vice Chairman of the Economic Development Commission. Also serving on that commission is Ben Horton, Chairman, as well as Alex Peroni, Robert Herrera, and Benjamin Horton Jr. as commissioners. Through a collective effort by the Economic Development Commission, before you is a proposal for the status awards, which are for the businesses that are doing the right stuff, such as customer service, significant business growth, business longevity, but not limited to that criteria only. This would be presented by the Economic Development Commission, who would oversee the implementation of this award. One of the ideas would be to maybe incorporate this award with an annual city event, such as the anniversary for the city, just an example. So thank you, and if you have any questions.
No, I thought you were going to elaborate more on the presentation of the, conditions.
Yeah, we are. Mr. Horton wanted to step in.
It's a team effort for everything that we're doing for the city. In reference to the Statue Award, we're trying to incorporate something that's going to, and we have talked about it before, to recognize our businesses that are doing the right stuff. One of the things that you have talked about was the business licenses, consumer affairs, and certain areas that you have touched upon. This will be incorporated in the Statue Awards, where, like Mr. Ortega talked about, we would like to incorporate, like, for instance, the state of the city, the anniversary, and pull all of this together. Now, you might think, what is this going to cost the city? Nothing, because the businesses are going to be helping to sponsor this and to put this forward. And that's what we're trying to do, is bring the businesses in, but yet the Economic Commission will oversee it. We have had discussions with the Chamber of Commerce. That helps John out there. We have talked to the Chamber of Commerce in reference to consumer affairs, protecting the consumer, letting the business know that we are part of this community. How we exchange or promote the city is how we take care of our customers. And that's going to be part of it. We have the criteria we're putting together, and we're working with the city manager in order to bring this forward. And I'm happy to say that pretty much I have talked to everybody about this that has been part of the city council. Now we're looking to implement this deal. It's not going to take place tomorrow or the next day. We're looking to implement this, let's say, at your next birthday of the city, the state of the city. And this is going to be something where the whole city is going to participate. Now you're looking at the idea how we're going to select the businesses. And one of the things that we're going to be looking for, the overall makeup of the business, how they interact with the customers, and also how they present themselves to the public. And we're looking at the possibility of breaking into different categories, because not all businesses are the same. You have the service, you have the retail, and also you may have manufacturing. We're not going to say it's all wrapped into one. To break it down to different categories, but yet the Economic Commission is going to work on this part. We'll put it together. What we're asking today is for you to say, yes, let's go for it. Then we'll set the date for next year. We'll start putting the rules and the requirements for this. But yet, We're looking to work with the Chamber of Commerce in reference to consumer affairs. And I think Mr. Hodge alluded a little bit in reference to how do we take care of our customers when they have complaints. That could be something that could be incorporated into this. And businesses, if they know they're going to be measured by how they interact with their customers or how they interact with the community. And one of the things also is that a lot of businesses has to take a little bit more interest into what the community is about. We have our schools that need a little bit of help. How could they help the schools? How can they pull things together? How can they interact? I'm a licensed realtor. One of the things that businesses and manufacturers look at when they come to a city is the overall makeup of the city. And that includes schools, because they're going to have people moving here. They're going to say, how are the schools rated? And that's going to be a factor too. We're going to look at the overall picture, the Economic Commission, which is concerned about the makeup of the city. I hope I'm not getting too repetitious, but this is to give you a little idea. And working with the city manager, we're going to put this together. Working with the businesses, we'll get the sponsorships for next year. So when we do have these awards, it's going to have something that has a little meaning to it, because they know that a business that earns this throughout the valley is going to earn something that's worthwhile. I have had a chance to talk to newspapers, TV stations, both sides of the borders, and they're excited about it. They think this is something new. It's a little bit, I'm not going to use the word radical, but it's new and different how we are going to promote our businesses in Calexico. And a lot of people use this phrase, only in Calexico, and that's true. Only in Calexico we're going to set the standards. Any questions from the audience or from this distinguished council here?
I see that there are no comments, so thank you for your presentation.
I hope you can
And
take action on it too tonight,
yes.
too.
Do I hear, yes, let's do this from one of the council members?
Yes, let's do this.
Is there a second? Okay, second. Yes, do this by Mr. Hodge and second by Mr. Moreno.
You're not
Please
going to
go.
write that down, are you?
I said it was a great idea.
Press the button to display your vote.
Skip it around. Thank you very much.
There you go, 5-0. Good luck with the project. Thank you. Okay, informational item, status on the business license delinquency list as of April 18, 2012. Note that we're still over $300,000 in one section. There's other sections there. I think with the subcommittee, we can address these concerns in getting these balances much lower. I don't think it will have success in taking care of the whole $300,000, but yes, it is something that needs to be addressed. And City Manager, I'll repeat it. I want this, if I may, Mr. Hodge. City Manager Rodriguez, I will insist that this report be on the council agendas at least once a month, either the first or the second meeting, but I want it on the...
You want it on a monthly, because
On a monthly
originally you had
basis.
said quarterly, but...
On this one, no, the other one was quarterly. The reports that Mr. Castro had asked on the loans.
Okay, all right.
I want this one on a monthly basis.
May I ask a question? Being that this is public information, would it be appropriate or legal to place this type of a list on our website?
It's already up there as part of the council agenda. You want it as a separate link on the website?
Someone suggested an idea like that, in other words, so that people are aware, and I guess it would probably motivate business owners to want to come in and pay and get themselves off the website.
Yes,
You guys want
Mr.
teeth.
We can look
And
into
here
that.
comes Mr. Newjar.
One thing that you always learn is never volunteer. But one of the things that we seem to keep batting back and forth is that we're not sure how accurate this list is. That there may be people who are not in business any longer, and we're still holding them on the rolls. What I would suggest is that, obviously, as the police department, we have men all over the city. Well, I shouldn't say men. I should say we have police officers all over the city.
Yes, that's correct.
And that in a week, or in less than a week, we could actually check all those businesses and find out which of them are still in business and good and which ones are not. And then from there, you'll have a condensed list of the businesses you need to go after. I'm not volunteering on that part, but I'm volunteering on the fact of at least trying to reduce the list of fake or false businesses that we have right now.
Well, as far as the assets that City Manager Rodriguez mentioned a little while ago, maybe it'd be a good idea if you can participate in that meeting.
Well, we can add, either again, just by getting the list from the finance department, we can hand it out to the patrol officers while they're doing their other patrols. They can check on the businesses, and they can do two things at once, as the city manager had mentioned.
Can your interim finance director provide that information?
We have the information, so that's not a problem. If we can do that, not a problem. We're always looking for volunteers.
Thank you, Chief Newjar, and your department for assisting in this. Okay, successor agency. Again, it was an informational item, so there's no vote to be taken. Resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico in its capacity as a successor agency to the Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, approving the recognized obligation payment schedule for the period of July through December 2012 and approving certain related actions. City Manager Rodriguez, can you elaborate?
This is an item that we continue to deal with as we move forward with the elimination of the redevelopment agencies and their assets. And so there's certain actions that we have to continue to take until its total elimination and total relinquishment of its assets. As somebody mentioned, I can't remember who, but anyway, we do have another meeting of the Oversight Committee scheduled for May 10th, and there's certain items that we need to place before them for that Oversight Committee to take action on. And so tonight you're going to hear about a particular item that we're asking that the council consider so that we can move it over to the Oversight Board. Having said that, I'm going to let our consultant who is here tonight in guiding us through the process of elimination and guiding the successor entity from Urban Futures, Marshall Lynn, to go over this item.
Thank you, Oscar. It's late, so I will be as brief as possible. The saga continues in the state of California due to the actions of the governor and the Assembly and the Senate last year and the loss of the lawsuit and so on. As we all know, RDAs officially are dead within the state of California, but unwinding a portion of government that's been in existence for literally decades and decades and decades, and particularly something as complex as RDAs with their ownership of parcels of land and ownership of buildings and deals and bondage and so on, is a tremendously complex task. And unfortunately, the legislation 26 and 27 did not exactly address everybody. I mean, every possible aspect of that. Redevelopment agencies officially now in the state of California are dead, and since we are a country of laws and so on, it's up to us as city councils, as professionals, as attorneys and so on, and do our best to obey the edicts of the legislature and the governor and to move ahead, and the court, to do away with RDAs. And part of this process has been that cities had the election or the choice to choose themselves as a successor agency to oversee the ending of their agency. I believe every city in the state of California outside of the city of Los Angeles chose that option. This evening's action basically is to adopt a recognized, approving a recognized obligation payment schedule for the period of July through December of this year. Every year, this board will have to take up a 6-year program. And so contained within the documentation that you have as a board tonight is actually a spreadsheet that talks about all the activities. Well, let me give you a little bit of background about what your role will be under Section 34172A1 of the law. The agency will be responsible to continue to make payments for enforceable obligations, maintain reserves and amounts in the indentures trust indentures perform obligations pursuant to any enforceable obligation, remit unencumbered balances to the RDA of RDA funds to the county auditor, then of course from the county auditor will pass them off to other taxing agencies, dispose of assets and properties of the former agency, enforce all former redevelopment agencies' rights and benefits of the taxing agencies, effectuate the transfer of housing functions and actions to the appropriate entity designated pursuant to Health and Safety Code 34176. And this particular council chose itself to handle that role. Expeditiously wind down the affairs of the redevelopment agency to provisions of Part 185 of the Health and Safety Code with direction of the Oversight Board. Now, the Oversight Board here in Calexico is going to play a very, very important role, as the Oversight Board is going to play in every city throughout the state of California. I believe there's 486 agencies that are going through the same exercise that we are. One of the things is to continue to oversee what's going to happen with properties, what's going to happen where there's contracts for improvements of properties. One of the other things we need to do is to approve an administrative budget and turn that over to the Oversight Board for its approval, and to provide administrative cost estimates from its approved administrative budget that are being paid from property tax revenues deposited into the RDA trust fund. So it's a very, very, very complex process. And everybody has gone through, as you have over the last couple of months, the preparation of ROPS, which is a recognized obligation payment schedule. And all of us, Jennifer, I'm sure, is included, have had ROPS coming out of our ears for the last 4 to 5 months. And all we do is talk about ROPS all week long and so on. I think my family thought it might have been a vegetable, and I said, no, it's not. It's something we have to do. And so the action in front of you, again, is to approve the ROPS from July to December. Now, this ROPS is not absolute. And there's a couple of twists here in the city of Calexico. It's probably not unlike a lot of other cities in the state of California, that we have bond proceeds, and many other cities have bond proceeds. And we need to use those bond proceeds for a project where you broke ground last week called Grand Plaza. And the Grand Plaza bond proceeds will be used to fund, and also as a match for the FAA grant. And some of us are going down to meet with the FAA on Thursday. But some of these proceeds will be used to put water and sewer lines and so on to make the Grand Plaza project a possible project. That project, as we've all known, and we've been on it for, almost 7 years now, is important to the economic health of the city because it's going to pour in a lot of sales tax dollars, and it's going to provide upwards of 250 jobs. So it's the most massive program we've had within the city. In my 35 years, I take that back, my 34 years here with the city. Next year will be 35 years with the city. So if there's any questions on the spreadsheet, there are a couple of little changes, I think, that are perhaps different than the draft that was sent to you in your agenda package. One was a correction on the total amount of the obligation that when the redevelopment agencies sold tax allocation bonds using the increment the increment from the school districts. That number has been plugged in at $4,036,930. That would be the total obligation from the start to the finish of paying that particular bond. And then on the second to the last page of the spreadsheet, probably the most important line in this whole process is the 2nd Street and Anza Road improvements. And what we're doing, we're characterizing that particular line item as a FAA match. One of the goals we'll have at the FAA meeting on Thursday was get a letter out of the FAA that they need to have this as a match. And the law is very, very clear that when there are matches for federal grants and so on, it's going to be an eligible expenditure. The key is that the city of Calexico sold another $6 to $7 million worth of bonds last year. It was a movement in the legislature over the last few weeks to simply say that all bonds sold within this last year from January 1st, 2011 on would have to be repaid back to the bondholders. That's a silly notion because you can't call these bonds for a period of 10 years. So that means that the bonds will sit with the trustee and sit there, and the trustee would pay an interest rate of maybe half a point or what have you, instead of those monies, and there's probably somewhere close to $1 billion worth of bonds were sold, will not be getting out into the California economy to provide projects and provide jobs. So that's ludicrous. It'd be tied up in the bank for, again, for 1 decade. So there's now some pushing at the state legislature. A lot of us are still involved in the lobbying effort. I have racked up more flights now on Southwest Airlines than I ever even thought that would be possible, running back and forth to Sacramento. AB 1585 is a bill that's winding its way through the legislature. We're hoping to get a 2/3 vote on this bill within the next couple of weeks. If we get a 2/3 vote, it changes the definition of enforceable obligations and would be a tremendous help not only to us here in this city, but cities throughout the state of California. We are very, very hopeful, and we feel that it probably will be passed. It's going to take a 2/3 vote of each House, Assembly, and the Senate in order to make an urgency legislation be effective this year. Otherwise, the bill would be effective if it's adopted and not, and if the governor allows it to pass. Otherwise, it wouldn't be effective to January 1st, 2013, which would be awful late. So we are making progress. This is another one of these administrative functions that we have to go through. There is a resolution in your packet, which we hope that the City Council will address and adopt tonight. Once it's adopted, then the ROPS will be sent off to the county and to the state. The state, over the last few weeks, has been bouncing back these ROPS to almost every city within the state of California, having questions. And some of the questions and some of the things they're doing are so acidine, if I can use that word, that they're going to literally cause defaults on some cities and bond issues. So we've got some serious problems within the state of California. Another serious problem, we don't have an organizational body now left anywhere in the state. The CRA is out of business. The CRA is down to a website. That's all it is now. So we have nobody addressing these issues with the legislature, and the legislature and the league are not speaking anymore. So we have some issues that I think that's going to be incumbent on local leaders such as yourself to make sure you put pressure on your senators and your assembly members in this district, saying we need to have help on these bills, and 1585 is a good start. 2 days ago, there was a lawsuit filed in San Diego County, and Jennifer probably knows a little bit more about it. Basically, that lawsuit is talking about the housing portion of the money that's kept within the redevelopment agencies. It was agreed upon a couple of weeks by the legislature that agencies would be able to keep their housing money. Joe Steinberg, our President Pro Tem of the Senate, came out last week and said we're going to might be a little bit short this year in the budget. Why don't we just take those monies? So there's this inconsistency that changes hour by hour, and it's terribly frustrating to deal with this. But it's so important because we're literally talking about billions and billions of dollars. And this money that we've all worked so hard to get, and this Grand Plaza project and so on that we've all worked so hard to get, it's important that we get this money. Now, with that being said, if we don't get the bond proceeds from the 2011, and I'm hopeful that we will, I'd say it's better than a 50-50 chance that we'll get to keep it. There are other ways to finance that project. We're still in negotiations with Grand Plaza. I don't want to let those things out of the bag, but in a confidential meeting that Jennifer hopefully will okay one of these days, we'll talk about those in session. But if we can get to use those proceeds, it can make that project a lot easier. We can get it built, start getting sales tax and so on. So with that being said, staff and the administration recommends that the City Council adopt the resolution of the City Council of the City of Calexico in its capacity of the successor agency, the Calexico Community Redevelopment Agency, approving the recognized obligation payment schedule for the period of July through December 2012 and approving certain related actions.
Thank you, Mr. Lin. What I'll do is, since there are no oral communications from the public, we'll go straight to the council members. I see that Mr. Hodge is ready to make some comments. No? Any other council members? He did not submit a report. He did not submit a report. Any comments?
No.
Mr. Castro? Mr. Hodge, Mayor
No.
Pro Tem?
It's quite complicated.
You did not submit a report, sir. Sir, you did not submit a report. Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado.
I'm going to ask him a question, Mr. Mayor.
You did not submit an oral communication.
For a report, I want to ask him a question.
We're going forward with a discussion item.
I do realize that tomorrow's meeting is going to be a very important meeting, and I do want to let you know that I will be turning on the charm with FAA, making sure that they do that for us and make this work, because I know that this project is a very important project for the city of Calexico. Very excited that it's already started and the momentum is on. We're just going to make sure we work really hard tomorrow and the next and get this done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this report amendable? Because there is still one item that has not formally been addressed by this council. It's been discussed, but not, there hasn't really been a consensus.
Sure, if there's a change that the council would like to make, yes.
Okay. Then what is the consensus of this council regarding this item? Is there a motion?
Motion for its approval.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado, second by Mr. Moreno. Please press the button to display your vote.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Passes 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
You did not submit a report, and it's already been addressed,
Mr.
Mr.
Rodriguez,
Gonzalez.
Mrs. Hashem was quoted in the paper saying that $16.6 million
Mr. Gonzalez,
was transferred from RDA to the city budget. Is that
issue.
true? Mr. Rodriguez, was that
Mr.
true?
Rodriguez, you do not need to answer that question. We have already voted on this issue.
Well, I want the record to reflect, and I hope the paper puts that down, because Judy Hashem mentioned in the paper that from
Okay,
RDA fund,
we're going on.
16.6.
Mr. Gonzalez, please, you do. Thank you. Future agenda items by this council, Mr. Moreno.
Not at this time. I'd just perhaps like to get an update on some of the requests that have been made in the past, so we can see what has been addressed and not addressed, so we can either come up with new items.
That's it?
That's it.
Mr. Castro.
Yes, I would like to request an event and date to recognize those who retire from the city of Calexico, to give them a certificate or a plate for each employee of the city of Calexico.
I think we all concur with that one, Mr. Castro. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Mr. Hodge.
Thank you, Mr. Castro, for that issue.
Excuse me, may I, Mayor? But we didn't hear the date. It's probably for the next council meeting. Can we,
I believe we have, excuse me if I may. No, I think we do have an awards banquet on a yearly basis, do we not, Mr.?
No, we do not. That was discontinued a while back. If you recall, we've discussed this item before, and we mentioned to you that we are trying to make preparations so that after the summer, that we can do an event. And we've discussed the issue that there are certain venues that we may potentially use. So that's what we're working on.
Mr. Castro, yes, it was discussed today, coming back from the casino, and I'm glad that you brought it up again, but it's been a long time coming, but as Mr. City Manager indicated, there supposedly is a date after summer.
After summer?
Yeah, which is...
Okay, I hope. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hodge.
Yes, two items on future action.
Please, that's it. Thank you.
I'm still concerned about our commissions. So once again, I'd like to recommend that we create a system where we have information coming to us as a city council on the attendance of the various commissions. Are the meetings being held on a regular basis? Why and why not? I appreciate some of the commissions and boards that give us the minutes, but I think all commissions should be giving us minutes. And then from time to time, on a rotating basis, not just a couple of commissions, one like the Economic Development Commission, but all of them giving oral reports. Again, the commissions, I believe, are a bedrock or a fundamental layer to our government. And if they are structured and they're working and operating properly, they are a real plus to our city government. And so, again, I would like for that to happen. Attendance records and meetings, when are they being held? And also individuals on the commissions, are they attending? Yeah, well, that refers to the attendance.
Maybe-
The other,
Maybe
yes.
just to piggyback,
Sure.
would it be an ideal thing to have a monthly calendar with all the commission meetings on the calendars and where they meet, what time they meet?
That,
Yeah, what we can do is we can do that, and then we have all the staff members that sponsor that commission, or whether it's the city clerk's office, report to the city clerk, and then have the city clerk put together a form that we can provide you on a monthly basis as far as attendance.
I mean, like, do we all know that our appointees are attending?
I don't know.
I do.
Okay.
And I think you brought this up before.
Yeah.
This is a previous item.
But we're all busy. Now we're on like 90 subcommittees. So. 95. So, I think it should come to us. I mean, I'll do my
Yes.
part and I have to inquire, but there has to be a system here.
Yes.
In place.
If I also may piggyback on that, City Manager Rodriguez, hate to put a little bit more burden on her, but Community Services Director, Senator Toller, she issues out a calendar of events for each month. Maybe also it can be shared with her so she can include these meetings in her calendar of
Yep.
events. My apologies, Mr. Hodge, please continue.
No, appreciate the additional points. Let me see if I can break this down. I would like for discussion on the next agenda and maybe for future action, possibly constructing an ordinance. It's mainly targeted for the downtown businesses, the issue about the trash bins, the size, the usage. We need to put some teeth in there as to determining, inquiring properly. Every business is different, so hence there should be different sizes of trash bins that these businesses have. And hopefully if we can have an ordinance that's fair and balanced, we can help eliminate the overflowing of that trash in the downtown area. Does that make sense? what I'm
Yes, and
breaking
in
down?
fact, we are looking to address that item. We have been working with Allied Waste, and in fact, they have provided a draft, so we are currently looking at on a staff level to try to move that forward to the council.
Oh, so maybe there might be some information about that, but we could put it on the next
Yeah,
agenda.
as long as, like I said, we're reviewing it on staff level now. We certainly would be happy to provide it to you and get your comments before we bring it up for official action.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. That's it.
Well, Councilman Hodge, what if we were to be tasked as the subcommittee for what we were just talking about to...
Another subcommittee?
No, the
No, that
downtown
was already mentioned
subcommittee
earlier.
that we
Oh,
just talked about
yeah,
earlier.
sure.
Maybe we can go ahead and
There you
absorb
go.
that responsibility and then bring that back.
More volunteers, I'm happy. I'll
Well,
pass it over to you guys.
I mean, that would be one of the main focuses.
Sure,
because
that
that's
makes
one of the
sense to
main
put it on
concerns.
that committee, so we'll give you a copy of that so that can be discussed at that subcommittee.
We're going subcommittee crazy.
But it works.
You're subcommitting me to death.
Just trying to
okay.
remember the term there. Okay, is that all, Mr.?
No, that's it.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Hurtado.
I also feel very strongly about the non-participation of many of our commissioners. And unfortunately, I can't forget what you said, Mr. Hargrave, that it took you a year and a half to be able to come and present us this information. So that's very unfortunate. I do keep in contact with my commissioners, probably not just one of them, but it's not such a, well, I know all commissions are important, but I do stay in contact with them by phone, by text, by emails, and in person, because, like you said, they're working with us, and we can't do everything. So I'm very concerned about the non-participation of those commissioners as well, so I'd really like to see what's happening and why that is happening. Within the discussion about business licenses, and we were talking about solutions, I remember probably about 8 months ago or so, I directed the same concern to Mr. Morales, and asked for an activity report from the code enforcement officers that we have presently. And I don't believe we ever saw that, so could we ask for that again and actually see that part of our city services at this given moment, and understand why that hasn't been working, to be able to then know how we're going to move forward? Because whatever it is that has been going wrong in the past is important to understand and know and realize where we have to perfect. So if we could have that, Mr. Morales, that would be great, because I know we have 2 enforcement officers within this building here, and then I believe that Mr. Felix is also doing enforcement for the fire department for his end of it. So I know I wouldn't be speaking about Mr. Felix at this point. It would be more the officers that are here in this office. An activity report to maybe like year-to-date, maybe even, from January to date, to understand what it is that they have been doing, what's their responsibilities at this point, and to understand the full picture before we move forward. Thank you.
What we can do in order to address that also, we'll just put it on the agenda and provide you a presentation of how that whole system works.
Even better. Thank you.
Actually, I was going to share 2 things, and I just recalled somebody had made some inquiries in regards to some hearings. And I understand we have a backlog of hearings that need to be conducted by the hearing officer. Is there a hearing officer in place? That's either with you, city managers?
With code enforcement, hearings,
yeah,
parking
code
ticket,
enforcement,
traffic
yes.
tickets? Okay. No?
Chief or
doesn't know.
Mr. Morales?
Wasn't there one appointed?
Was there one appointed? Yeah, I forgot what his name is. Yes, we do have a hearing officer. Unfortunately, I'm embarrassed to say I don't recall what his name is. But we do have some items or individuals that have appealed, and we're going to be having a meeting hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so.
Can you furnish some kind of report at the next council meeting of what the hearings are about, and how you're going to, form of, progress of, that they are being conducted and they're being heard and their decisions are being handed out?
Okay, we'll do that.
Thank you. Aside from that, as a reminder, since at the next council meeting, we're going to be at the week during the Mariachi Festival Week, yours truly, I'm one of the co-chairs, honorary co-chairs, and I just want to remind everybody the week of May 14th through May 19th will include events that will bring guests to our city from Imperial County, San Luis, Mexicali, and of course, Los Angeles, San Diego. The Chamber of Commerce and Committee and the City of Calexico have been working very hard to make Calexico's signature event a success, and that is obviously the Mariachi Festival. So I wanted to share that, and if there's nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 9:05. Thank you, everybody.